All right, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Big Devilish Show. Today, I welcome back to the program my good buddy George Foster. George, how you been?
Been good, man. Been great since it's been a while since we talked, but we got some natty stuff going on. You know what I mean? So
Back
you
to
know what I'm saying,
backs.
that back to back. You know what I mean? So that's been great. So been all happy on this end, man.
George, what do you think it was? You were there when Rick was there. What is it that we're doing now from a coaching standpoint? Kirby's doing that we just weren't able to do with Rick. Do you think? What is the difference between the two?
I think first of all, I think Coach Rick is an outstanding coach. Um, Won a lot of games. It's a lot of big names. That's got a lot of work to do to catch up to his resume as far as wins go. Um, but I think where they differ, I think probably, um, well, this staff has a lot more resources.
Okay.
Well, they've gotten carte blanche, I think, to use those resources. Put it like that.
Right.
Than more so than the last regime, and I think they do a better job in the trenches. Um, the 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 amount of quality guys that Kirby is um, getting in that program in the trenches on both sides is that's how you win. You know, back to back national championships. You know what I mean? You got a 5'10", 5'11" quarterback that was barely touched. You know, this year or for the better part of 2 years, and that paid dividends. And then you got on the flip side, you got first round D linemen out the wazoo, edge rushers. You got linebackers. Those front seven guys. You know, Kirby he puts the emphasis on that stuff. We had a lot of great skill guys during the Rick era. AJ Green, who's retiring today,
Okay.
Matthew Stafford, Noshawn Moreno, Todd Gurley, like like plenty, plenty of skill guys. But up until Isaiah Wynn, the last first round lineman was honestly myself. And
Right.
that was like a 15. It was a lot of years in between. You know what I mean? Then that's not going to happen in this Kirby era. He's going to have at least one this year. You know, um, he had
Yeah,
Isaiah. You had
both of the tackles for the Giants came from Georgia at this point.
yeah. You know what I mean. So it's they're doing a better job in the trenches, and that's how you win good football games. That's how you win the tough games.
Well, new quarterback next year, it'll be odd. We've had that position sorted out for a while now. Does it make you nervous?
Now, it does make me nervous because they recruited well at position. Those guys just haven't had a chance to play. I know, stars, recruiting stars don't mean jack until you hit the field, but they have the talent at the position. It's just a matter of what that talent does when the bullets are flying. And like these guys, none of these guys can hide behind a veteran as Stetson anymore. Like they got somebody got to put up or shut up, and the bullets gonna be flying, and it's gonna be interesting to see. But I'm confident that they will have the right guy, and they got defense to give them some leeway to get it right. So
Now
it's gonna
I
be
know
good.
you're an offensive guy, but is this the formula for success? A defensive minded head coach that allows, like Todd Monken, free reign to kind of call the offense. Is that the new way to do things? A defensive minded head coach, you think?
Um, if he's a good coach, you know what I mean. Depends on how good you are, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So like, if you got a good coach, a good defensive minded coach that could keep other teams' offense off the field, then it's a good formula. If you can't, then it's a bad formula. Football is kind of cut and dry. You win or you lose, man. You get it done or you don't.
When you got drafted by the Broncos, had you expected to go there? Did you have a place that you wanted to go? How did that
Um,
work on draft day? Had you gotten feelers of where you might be going?
Now Denver was probably the last place I thought I was going.
Right.
I took some what they call top 30 visits, and each team can invite in 30 guys that they want to see, up to 30 guys that they want to see up close and personal, get to talk to, get to feel them out. And I went on my visits, and I had not heard from the Broncos, and then all of a sudden I was on my visit to the 49ers, and while I was there, the Broncos told my agent that they would like to bring me in, and so instead of going straight back to Atlanta, they had me stop in Denver, and so I stopped in Denver and met with them. You know, usual meeting or whatever. They got to know me, but I had no idea that they were actually looking at me.
What were some of
So
the
you
other
never
teams
know.
that showed interest that year?
I took a visit to Baltimore. I took a visit to, like I said, the 49ers, Broncos. I took a visit to the Rams.
And you got traded to the Lions. How does that work? How does that work when you get traded? And how'd you find out?
Man, I don't want to get this wrong, but I feel like I didn't I didn't know I was traded. Like I I think a friend hit me, so he saw it on the ticker or something. And I was riding down the freeway. He was like, "Hey man, how you like the trade?" I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you got I just saw on TV you got traded." You know what I mean? I feel like maybe me and my agent had talked about a possibility like way back or whatever, but I had no idea. Like they don't, I didn't get called into an office or anything. It was like, hey,
Right.
think about trading. You know what I mean? Like when I found out about it, it was like when it happened.
Am I wrong in this? Did the Lions, did they want you to kick into guard? Is that what happened there?
No, no, no. I came in and I started off at right tackle.
Okay.
I played pretty much right tackle the whole time.
That's what I thought. Okay. I'm curious. The Commanders drafted Kyle. I don't know if you remember Cam Cosby from Texas, but they drafted him to play right tackle 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. This year they wanted him to kick into guard. Is that a tough transition to
It
kick
can
in from tackle to guard, or is it fairly?
it can be, typically your tackle athletes have the ability to kick in and excel. You know what I mean? But it's not guaranteed. It's not a guarantee. Guards a different position. Everything happens quicker. Like those guys are right there on you, and you got to be able to engage and come back very quickly with some very big, strong dudes. And how to tackle. You definitely have to have. You have to be athletic, and you're facing more athletic guys, faster guys,
Yeah.
quicker guys, and so it, you know, it's probably tougher if you just want to put it like if you want to make it black and white. It's probably easier to kick into guard than to kick a guard out the tackle because
Right.
guard bodies and guard athletes they just don't they don't typically unless you're a special guy. My guy Damian Woody was able to kick out to the right tackle for the Jets for a number of years, and and do pretty well. You know what I mean? But it's rare. But guys kick in to tackle the guard all the time. It just takes some getting used to. Because like I said, everything happens fast, so
Yeah.
fast.
George, did you really say you couldn't tell the story of hip hop without Eminem? Did you do that on your Twitter feed?
Yeah, I say you could. I say you can tell it without Eminem. Because as far as like the major moments in hip hop, Like, like he was. We know who Eminem is because he was really good at rapping. You know what I mean? And and he happened to be a white dude in a majority black space, but he wasn't the first white dude. He wasn't the second. He wasn't the third. I don't,
No.
as far as major notoriety, he's just really good at rapping. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people that's really good at rapping. You know what I mean? That
But do you have
you
do you have G Unit? Do you have the second half of Dre's career? I mean, all those things were
um
predicated on him, right?
yeah I think everything starts with Dr. Dre, and Dre's start. I would lean more to Dre's significance being his NWA start. I think that came about because of the discussion on Twitter came about because of what as far as Two Live Crew being not being mentioned or part of the a part of the celebration. I didn't get to see the performance and everything, but if it's meant to tell the story, well, if it's a celebration, that's cool. But I would feel like if you're going to celebrate 50 years of hip hop, in my opinion, the the segment or show in the Grammys would be sort of a timeline of important people and important times. And I felt like we don't get any stuff that you're able to talk about today without Luther Campbell. It just
No,
can't
I
do
agree
it.
with you there.
You know what I mean? So you don't get that without, NWA. You know, you have to start with, Melly Mel and all those guys. And then you go down the timeline, guys like, Eminem and maybe 50 Cent. They probably kicked off some eras, maybe, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like they're significant. They're under the umbrella of what the people before them did. You know what I mean? So I'm Eminem fan. Listen to a lot of his records. Definitely a lot of the early stuff. Bought a lot of the early stuff. But he's just a major player in the game, of hip hop. But I don't know if he, he's a major part of the story of hip hop and how it has progressed. You know, so even some of these youngins that I might not be into, they're big parts of like the now story.
Right.
If we're gonna go year 51, if we in 50 more years when they would celebrate 100 years, some of these kids are doing that thing now that have changed the game. You know what I mean? These kids ushered in the YouTube era. These that's going to be a part of the game. It's a huge part of the game now. A lot of people getting rich off YouTube. I don't know if you can hear. I'm not a big radio guy, but I hear NBA. I don't want to be an old man, but young NBA boy or young boy NBA whatever. He's like the most watched person on YouTube.
Yeah.
He probably never gets on the radio, but he's rich from YouTube, his YouTube videos as an artist. He's 100% a rapper. He's not a content creator, but his base is on YouTube. Like that's gonna be in this year 51 of the next 50 years of hip hop. You know what I mean? You have to tell the story with those guys.
George, I know you watch a ton of SEC football. Who you like better, Anthony Richardson or Will Levis?
Anthony Richardson or Will Levis? That's a good question, man, because put it like this. I don't want to say it's hypothetical because it's this is information that can be come up with just with some film study. Um, but if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to pick the most accurate, whichever one was the most accurate. I'm assuming it's Levis. Because I saw some throws that from Anthony Richardson sometimes that weren't the greatest. Then you see him make some wild throws. He's got a hose on him now. He's got a real deal hose on him. Levis, what I do like about Levis, even with limited time seeing him play, is his release. He can get the thing out of there.
Yeah.
And he's a big dude, pretty big arm. And both guys are pretty big dudes. Gonna be tough to bring down in the pocket. Richardson is, I assume, faster. He makes some long runs. I don't know how, in long run categories as far as Levis, what he does, but I'm going to pick the most accurate guy. Right now, I think it's Levis, but Richardson, he's a he's a nice piece of clay, put it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you could, I always say Josh Allen is a unicorn. He's an anomaly. You usually don't get better with accuracy, and he got better with accuracy.
Right.
Typically don't have. I feel like you're accurate or you're not. Some people feel like you can develop it. You can't do a 180. I'll tell you that much.
Right. On the accuracy.
Yeah, accuracy is just some kids have it, some don't. But the thing is, you might can get Anthony Richardson to where, he's adequate. You know what I mean? If he has adequate accuracy and he does everything else at an exceptional level, you might have something to work with.
I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but it feels like Keely Ringo is falling down draft boards. Had a little bit of an off season, but I'm surprised kind of, he went from being like a top 5, the first cornerback taker into like the bottom of the first round now. Are you surprised by that? What do you think happened there?
I don't know. I think, and this pre-draft stuff is, it's hit or miss. The thing about Keely is, he has some deficiencies. What he doesn't have is a deficiency in speed.
Yep. And
he's
size.
Strong. He's strong. He'll thump you. He has a lot going for himself. He just has issues. He's had issues in his career in college playing the ball in the air. You know what I mean? I also know another there was a corner that had that issue, Tyson Campbell, and he's turned into a pretty doggone good corner in the NFL. So maybe he can come around in that area. But people, you got to understand, to get drafted in the first round, you're one of the best of the best, or somebody perceives you to be able to be one of the best of the best, eventually. You know what I mean? That's not, if you pick 25th, 30th, like you're still in the top of the top. You know what I mean? When you're talking about top 10 guys, you want guys who, when I was in scouting, the elite guys who would put a blue color on. Ain't many blue guys in college football. Some years you may have 5, 6, 7. You know what I mean? Like, blue guys get picked that high. You know what I mean? And if you don't think he's blue, if you think he's red, which, the majority of the league still ain't even red. You know what I mean? The majority of the league, we had a purple, I think. And the league is purple. You know what I mean? The league is purple. The blue guys, than the guys that just played, that, you know, $200 million contracts. Like they're blue. Like they are rare individuals.
Right.
If you don't feel like he's rare and you feel like he's red, I feel like a first round. I feel like red guys are deserving of a first round pick, no matter where they fall. You know what I mean, in that first round. And he just, it just depends. And he's also, you know, um, I don't like to assume guys can play another position. In his case, safety or whatever. I never assume that because it's a different position. It's a totally
Right.
different position from corner. Um, but I would, but what he does have is, is some of the traits to be able to switch position. He's tough. Like I said, he can tackle. He will hit you. He's fast as all get out. You know what I mean? And he's a strong kid. So, that would be what I would look at in a safety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if I don't know if he, in college, he just could use his skill set so much, on the outside, you know, as far as definitely deep, because he's going to run with anybody. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And coming up and tackling on the outside that he probably never had to get a shot at safety or whatever. So it would be something totally new, for an NFL team. But who knows? It's a good opportunity. You know what I mean? I don't see him falling too much. He's just so fast, and speed kills. You know what I mean? It's like when you're like what's my man from the Packers.
Alexander. Or are you talking about the
No.
kid from Georgia? Yeah.
Yeah. How do I forget his name real quick? He was a speed guy coming out of high school. He's just pure speed guy. You know what I mean? And he eventually turned himself into a first round player.
Stokes.
Eric Stokes. So, like there's a lot there to like about Kiwi. You know what I mean? And so, falling, rising up, like nobody knows what that means until it's time to do it.
I looked for we got on here, George. It's Eagles 1.5 point favorites for this Super Bowl. Two things I like to wrap up with. One, where were you on Hurts coming out? We saw him a ton in the SEC. I don't think people thought he had this kind of ability. He's come around a long way, and the Eagles probably the better team. But the Chiefs have that guy named Mahomes, man.
Mm-hmm. It's tough, man. Hurts fits in so well, man. He does what they ask him to do. He's got a great offensive line. He's he's a strong kid. When he gets behind his pass to run, he goes forward. Like he's a part of the new era in football. You know what I mean? Where he's not, he's not so much of the anomaly like guys back in the past. Like you had, Vic and those guys, and Randall Cunningham. Like these guys are becoming the norm when you're able to use their legs and move them in the pocket and make them threats with their legs, not a. I think teams are being more proactive and more assertive with guys' legs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Josh Allen, like they know what they got with him, and like it makes no sense to have a guy that's 6'5", 250 and can run, and you never run him. But that used to be the case. Now they build offenses around these guys like Jay, and he's done nothing but take off. Like, so it's gonna be interesting. This Philly team, it feels like the last Philly team that won it all. You know what I mean? They're just hot. and they got the formula, and like they got 5 guys up front that gonna give Mahomes all he wants. Like they're gonna be coming. They're gonna be coming, and I don't know. I don't know if the Chiefs have the greatest line. You know what I mean? But,
Yep.
they got that dude back there. You know what I mean? He makes up for a lot, but how much can he make up for in this game? So we're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting. How long they and if the Eagles have a plan for 87, it could be a long day for the Chiefs. But it seems like nobody's had a plan for 87 lately, and it's like, what are you doing? Like he's gonna get the ball. He's gonna get all the balls.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you gonna do? Like that's the genius of Bieniemy and Andy. Like they get that guy in positions to where nobody's been able to stop him, and 15 gonna find him. 15 is gonna find him.
It's
You gotta
incredible that every
you gotta
team-
get you gotta get 50 you gotta get 15 you gotta get 15 on the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? When like if you miss, it's a huge play waiting to happen. Because those guys he's throwing to, they know that if he gets out of the pocket, if you don't get him on the ground, they know he's gonna fight. They know, so they stay alive. You gotta get 15 on the ground.
So you like the Eagles in this one?
I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles in this one. They're riding the wave right now. And I like what they have up front. And it's gonna be interesting. Their battle up front is gonna be big. You got Orlando Brown, you got Hassan Reddick, you know what I mean? You got Fletcher Cox. Like Fletcher's not, he don't want to give it up yet. You know what I mean? He's turned it on. B. Graham turned it on. Like they just you got Dominican Sue coming off the bench. Like it's pretty crazy. So it's gonna be interesting to see. You got two formidable offenses, I think. And then look, you got Chris Jones on the other side, man. It's like, man, it's gonna be a good game.
It feels like it's one of the better matchups we've seen in a while for Super Bowl.
Yeah. Feels like it's gonna be good, man. You don't want it to end up like it was for Pat them versus the Bucks, where the O-line just couldn't hold up. And
could be it again.
And that's what I'm saying. Philly got the Dawgs to make it a long day for them. So it's going to be interesting. The matchup up front that's going to be the one. That is going to be the one. Can they block? Can Philly block Chris Jones? And can the Chiefs block everybody?
It's a whole lot. They roll them out in waves. The Eagles do. I give them credit for that.
Yep.
George, I appreciate the time today, buddy. Always good to catch up with you, man.
Hey, man. Glad to be on here with you, man. Anytime.
Thanks, man.
All right, dude.